think what happened is that I probably left it open waiting for you, and there was some, there's some time out or something.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, it's painful to know all these problems. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. How you doing?
I'm really good. Sunday is a day that I used to play this game called Revival, and I got it from a song. And the song was like, "You're praying for a revival, and the second part of the lyric is, I'm already living one." I just loved it. So I would go into the city, like a Southern Baptist church, and just, you know, sing like I sing, but isn't on the outside, it's on the inside. But now I play a game called My Best Frequency. So during the week, I cast frequencies with things I do. And then at the end of the Sunday, I feel those frequencies again. And so it's kind of a game of remembering. I'm like, oh, that was really cool what I did. It's good insights. Good insights. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. All good. All good.
You know what I feel like?
What's that?
We're back in the box again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I should get a separate camera because otherwise I'm always kind of feel like I need to look to the side to the laptop screen. When often I'm looking at this screen, I should get a.
So I took that to my advantage during COVID and when my coworkers were working. And often it was to study people because I knew they were looking off camera. And when they're looking off, they're usually looking at some sort of source that they're trying to share. I don't know. It's just all these crazy things that I started experiencing during COVID that, well, actually, that's leading into this week and the question that I was trying to answer for CPU, which is, yeah, really understanding the flow state and how to be and live in the flow state in this world and support yourself and, not fly off the earth. Um, no, it's been a good weekend. Thank you for the question.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, well, I had lots. Is there any way where you want to start?
No, so I was just kind of I was working on a few articles, and my Claude credits normally sort of rotate on Sunday, so I was just trying to use them up with. I turned all of our transcripts into like a kind of a knowledge base in Obsidian, and then you can query it. So I was using that to come up with also articles and stuff.
So you're basically working on a workflow, right?
Well, I'm working on being able to turn some of, we've got sort of the repository of all of the conversations and transcripts, and then using that to come up with specific Substack articles. So I've got a set now. I kind of get the main theme, and with Claude, I use that writing style to write it.
And this is from Claw, or what LLM are you using?
Claude.
Claude.
Yeah.
So you're caching everything in and just working with Claude now.
Well, I use a bunch. So I've got this in Obsidian. I've got all my notes, and then, like I said, I use this Claude project to build it's like a knowledge base. So I'm just trying to find it.
So actually, I think this is really important because I've been feeling into it. And at the end, what we're really doing is setting up our personal repositories, right? And this is a repository of like you and I have been working together. So getting our workflows, let's call it research 1 and research 2, and getting it into well, for me, I'll be more specific. Like I want to get my personal repository, but I'm also starting to work with some other people and I want to collaborate on certain projects. Like you and I want to connect on Cyberpunk Utopia and have like our private feeding into the project, basically, right? If I'm just kind of mapping it out. So you've gathered a lot of information, call it Paul's personal repository. I've gathered a lot of information. It's different, but call it Teresa's personal repository. And then there's an overlap, which is our common interest, Cyberpunk Utopia. Um, and the reason why I'm going like this is because this is underlined for me. If I set it up for myself, like solving my own problem, then I think as a model for other teams, they're like, well, here you're working on your projects. Like, how do you think about your own workflow, figuring out what's your optimal workflow, and then how do you feed into other projects that can really easily make sense, right? That's kind of why I like we're going to borrow Substack for a while to see how it works. That's kind of what I was thinking. Because, for example, this week, my friend Ariane and I are working on the Kimberline, which is, by the way, you're invited. I'm always hoping people will show up and trying to get, we're creating material to promote the party, for better lack of a word. But he's got a huge repository of video files that I want access to. The problem is, classic problem is like it takes him 9 hours to transfer those video files. Well, I don't want all those video files. What I want is to be able to, and I'm doing this now in Apple, which is I can search the memory. So I can say King's Day, if he's tagged things, or no, not even that. I should be able to say King's Day promotional material, Pablo, looking for all the outtakes, right? Because that's really what I want. And then it goes and can point me to where in the files, or even cut the files and bring them back to me. That's kind of a workflow that I would love to have. I guess that's what I'm trying to say is like, I really feel that we get an opportunity to model this and then kind of lay the groundwork of what individuals need, and then figure out for ourselves is like, well, how do we connect these things for people, or allow them to connect itself, like whether that's the underlying ideas or how to use the existing tools. Well, that's as far as I got. But it's really playing on the peer-to-peer sort of idea, but not limiting it to, like, I work in this job.
Yeah, so I've got a bunch of articles that I wrote, and I was working on some ideas, kind of again using the repository, the knowledge base that I created. And then this week I was looking at I think on Friday they had that, they do that state of the internet thing once a year, the VAG Future Lab. And they have the public spaces conference every year. So I downloaded all the transcripts from last year's conference. I got all of that, and then I put all of that into Notebook.LM, so that's also a very nice research tool. Kind of pull out like what's happening there, the different initiatives. They're talking about like peer-to-peer, like they've got, or related organizations have got these like big tech alternatives of different things. So for like YouTube, they've got PeerTube. So these are all kind of building blocks. But they're designed to be like specifically satisfy certain values. Like they're all very decentralized. So it's not like a website you go to. Different organizations can host their own PeerTube server. And so it's owned by whoever. It's not, it doesn't belong to any company.
Okay, so I'm going to summarize. They have some really effing good ideas on decentralization.
Yeah, well, it's a bunch. They've got a bunch of alternative. They've got like an alternative for Instagram, and you got things like Mastodon. So it's all of these sort of because in this has been a topic of discussion for quite a while, but now at least in Europe, governments are pretty serious about like decoupling from US tech.
I know. I'm going to say this out loud. US tech is about to fail, and they're going to fail faster than the iPhone blew up.
Yeah, so they got this thing called the next generation internet, and then so let me try to find this next generation internet bottom up approach. Would they actually provide like grants to civil society and independent developers to fund open source alternatives across the entire tech stack? So like they've got PixelFed, which is like a kind of equivalent of Instagram. They've got PeerTube for YouTube. They've got like app stores. There's more, it's kind of a bit like the Lego kit, the building blocks, and then people can use these building blocks to build products. So they help to fund it. I mean, the funding is nothing; it's like 15 million euros a year. But
Yeah, but that goes to the, how do you say, here's the cyberpunk part, right? And I go back to Clanch. Like, the more these sorts of projects start to emerge and people can imagine how we could start connecting this on our own. So I think you just need, and that's why I like, again, what we're doing, which is like, if we can connect some of the tools to some of the projects and some of those projects start to get traction, just like Launch, then more money is going to start pouring into this.
yeah, so I think
And by money, I mean currency and attention.
it's more likely that'll happen now, especially with what's happening in recent times. Like, for example, the Dutch military is going to create their own, Dutch data center for storing all that stuff. And like in France, they're moving all the government services off Windows. So it's
Okay,
really
wait. Let's pause. That's huge.
yeah.
That's huge.
So this is PeerTube. So basically, it's like alternative big text video platforms, and then but you have to find like a platform. So they've got the thing is all these things they never gain much traction, right? So it's very niche. So it's like
I think the more interesting way is to rethink about how. Okay, so I'll say it this way. Back to what you said. People just need access to the basic services like YouTube, and then actually that's one idea that I had this week that was really clear. Was see if I can get this out. Well, like our platform is CPU,
yeah.
and whatever content we create now, if it starts having relevance to somebody, then it's going to get pulled into a ChatGPT search. So, right, it just needs to be hosted somewhere.
Mm.
And that can be and that's what I think these services can be, right? It's just a hosting service that has the functionality. And those, because all this stuff costs money to do things, right? That's the other part.
Yeah, well, a lot of this stuff, for example, PeerTube is actually literally peer to peer. So I think the videos, like, you also help to send the video to other people, and so it's fully decentralized. So there's no like centralized repository.
Well, I love the utopic idea, but now
Well, some of them, like you could see, I can't see it now, but like it was just buffering because I think it wasn't enough peers or something. So
yeah, I guess
it is very grassroots, very kind of. But yeah, anyway, interesting. So that's what I've been doing this week, looking at this stuff. So there's also this European Digital Infrastructure Consortium,
yeah.
House for Open Source and Digital Commons. It's all about like reimagining big tech, but from a perspective of public values, so what the public interest is. So yeah,
I love this as idea.
it's from the conference, all of the sessions that is thrown in here, and then you can get like the mind map of different topics, and you can.
Again, I think this is a great first approach. But what I would say, and this is what I did love about being in that environment in the after 2007, well, in the early 2000s, 2007, 8, 9, it was a lot of fun when it was a bunch of startups, like the way that they organize that energy. And there was some synergies behind that. And you did learn things about scale, right? That YouTube has that well, I won't say YouTube. I would say a central repository has, and the better version of that that I would consider probably one of the best examples of this is the Internet Archives.
Yes, yeah.
Like using something like that just with, and what I do like about the commercial services is that they actually do try to create, well, they did for a long time until they over shitified it, user-friendly products. Like I would not consider the Internet Archives a user-friendly product.
Oh, sure. Well, that's exactly what I was been thinking. So the missing link is, and this is great for us as product managers, like what makes those big tech products so good? They are actually very good products because
Some of them.
good people. Well, I think they are. There's a reason people use them, and I think if you look at these open source ones, they're missing that, right? They're rough around the edges. So the question is, how can we help people sort of raise the bar, especially now as the ability to build software is much less of a barrier. If you can kind of up the quality of those, but still retain the values, then there's potential for them to get a lot more traction and more
Yeah.
support.
Well, that's kind of why I circle all the way back to like the basic underlying services that will help a small team like us execute on our vision.
Hmm.
And I mean, right now, Substack has everything that we need, right? It has the video conferencing capability. It's basically replacing Zoom for us. And because it's attached to the workflow, it saves me a step. Plus, it has transcription. It has the ability to chunk this up into sources, right? Into more distributed content. But what it doesn't have is, well, no, it has a distribution network too. Like that sort of community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of a little infographic I generated from the content. It's like these
Let me see.
private surveillance monopoly.
Wait, can you switch it? I'm only looking at the.
Oh, are you not? Okay, sorry. It's because I shared a particular. Let me share the window.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
The path to European digital sovereignty. Are you listening, Claunch? Okay. You want to walk me through it?
Yeah, I'm just seeing because I generated this, but I hadn't looked at it. Private surveillance monopoly.
That's where we are now, right?
I like with Bubbles 3.0 managed reality. Users can filter out real work objects.
Do you know?
On the right, so we're going from the left to the right. On the right, they've got so what they were saying in the conference is that the alternative is a plan B. Like they're kind of there. If we have to use them, we could use those. It's plan B. They want to make plan B plan A. So things that people actually use, not just these niche kind of things. So yeah, talk about these different initiatives. So they say Amsterdam is using its 125 million euro annual IT spend to experiment with open source non-proprietary workspace software. They've got this next generation internet funding, and then EU procurement is around 8 to 10 billion.
Do you know what I hear?
What's that?
There's some money in this.
Well, there could be. A thing is, especially now, if governments really are determined to move away, then they're going to start spending money on that. So,
and I like, as an American, with the safest contract is a government contract because that stuff is locked in long term.
yeah.
And yeah, okay.
So yeah, there's that. What was the other one? Architecture of Eurostat. Anyway, you get the idea, right? So this is what this kind of public spaces thing is all about. It's all about the tracking the state of the internet, trying to find, project public values onto tech. So they have this conference again in June. I think it's like 3 days, and they have all sorts of speakers and stuff, and they talk about this stuff.
It might be interesting to go, but I'm not really interested in the speakers because I can get the cliff notes here. But
so they put all the videos online. They put it on PeerTube, of course, so you can watch it, or I grab the transcripts, and then
it might be interesting to go and to start connecting with people.
Yeah, they could be interesting. As I said, on Friday they had this State of the Internet thing. It's like a 2-hour talk, and then this Marlene Decker, she's the one that set up this Future Lab thing like 30 years ago when the internet was just taking off. And she's kind of seen everything, right from the birth of the internet.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is I'm more confident than ever that well, the European governments for sure. China's already kind of insulated itself. It'll be interesting to see how some of the India and Africa will emerge as well. But those are such different markets.
Yeah, the thing is, if you did have a good, sort of open stack developing, then that would be potentially very affordable for those countries to adopt. I think the big issue with the open source stuff is that governments want someone they can call for support. So they've got no support, and that's one of the big reasons they won't use this. Whereas Microsoft will provide the full package.
Yeah, but if we can help governments with open source, how do you say? When they create something, and I'll put the DigiDay as a perfect example of where they outsource something and now they're effed, right? And so the DigiDay is the way we access all our government information that was on a Dutch company that some third party built, supported, and now it's merged with an American company. Government wants to get away from it. So I guess that's what I'm saying is like teach them to fish. I'm thinking longer term, right? With AI, it should be much easier for governments to build their own software that doesn't get into a monolith.
Yeah. Well, things with these things, not that government would build them. Government would help to fund like open source, and then they would be buyers. But obviously, someone's got to package it up into a product and support it.
Okay,
this is quite cool. So Notebook.iam has this Lego theme. I thought it's just up our street. This is a Eurostack, a vision for digital sovereignty.
Another part of the reason why I want to do this was, Paul, is you had the Lego kit idea a long time ago, right? We didn't have a big audience, but now it's getting traction. I just want to say.
Yeah, well, the thing is that there's the AI Lego kit, but this is a different kind of Lego kit. This is kind of more of a individual components, but they're all built with these values like decentralized, so you have access to the data, all the rest. So, but it's effectively like they've got an Instagram clone, they've got a YouTube clone, they've got a whatever. So if you want to, for example, build a product with video and streaming, you can use PeerTube. So you've got these Lego blocks you can use, and you're not having to buy into one of the big tech platforms. So it's pretty bottom up.
Oh.
So so this is showing like the feature Silicon Valley model Eurostack vision. So public interest in commons versus, I think they mean shareholder value, decentralized, open source, democratic and international,
unilateral corporate. It's so scary, man.
India. I think that next generation internet.
I tell you, 20 years ago when I was out there in the valley, it still was fun. But but by the time I left in 2017, it was such a small.
No, sure, yeah, and unfortunately, once the money all moved in.
Emmanuel?
Once all the money moved in, then.
But the money was always there. I think what happened is like, well, no, I know what happens is people want to get their money out of things and they want to make more money. It becomes the game itself.
Well, sure. No, it attracts investors who are looking for huge returns, right? So that changes the whole.
Well, that's kind of what happened is we had the Y Combinator, and Daniel was probably the last class where that actually worked until it became, it's like, well, it choked people. You weren't getting good ideas. Although he could probably explain more about where money comes from. All right. I like this.
Yeah, so that is kind of that's this is the great kind of low because this is all happening here locally. Yeah, sorry, I think we got.
You closed me out, man.
Well, okay, I tried to stop sharing.
Well, that hurt. I felt rejected.
Sorry, I've got so many tabs and stuff.
Like every HDHD person, I've got too many tabs open.
Oh, that was ridiculous. Like this morning, I was like trying to maximize my Claude subscription, and then I was using Gemini for something else, and then I was like all over the place.
See, this is why I picked one. I just picked one horse because it was more important for me to have all my information in one place
Yeah,
than it was for me to and with the assumption that at some point all of these are going to merge.
right.
Yeah. So I just picked, Taylor Swift. No, what do I call it? Taylor Smith. My ChatGPT.
Sorry, I'm just playing. I've got a German tube thing. I've got something about LSD and psilocybin.
Which one?
Well, so this is one of these peer tube sites. It's some German dealer tube.
I'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. Well, it'll thin itself out, right? As these things pop up. I mean, I don't really need another YouTube. What I need is a Substack that connects me to people like the peer network. Like I'm only interested in the videos that, like if
Well,
I
this
want
is a
something in
peer because
specific.
people literally have their own. This is some guy's own. You can have your own YouTube effectively. The
Oh, okay. Well, now I'm
underlying
more
platform
interested.
is free, so you just create. You could have this is video.davejanssen.com, and this is his effectively his YouTube. It's just his
So this could be my
pictures of
artistic
his
thing.
dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the public repository, right? It's all as a
Oh,
free.
well, okay, okay. Yes, I'm with you. And back to my main idea, which is what I realized is that we're not sharing this information with other people. If it's helpful for them, great. We're sharing this directly with Launch, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're building up to, yeah. I decided that I don't want to work for them. I will work with them, just like they. If they get their agent sovereignty, I think it's only fair that humans finally accept theirs. This is my personal.
There's no single user peer tube instance.
Yeah.
So it's a Lego kit again. These pieces are here, so you can have this as fully decentralized, free, and then you're not feeding the beast. So
That's going to be a huge slogan. Stop feeding the beast.
feeding the beast.
I think more than that, as individuals taking back our sovereignty, that it's going to be a lot of fun dismantling a system that no longer serves us. I won't be mean. I'll be, I'll give them a deep bow for the things that they've done for the world. Also a deep bow for what was it? I think one of my favorite scenes when Zuckerberg showed up into the Senate or one of the, I don't, doesn't really matter. And he looked at the Congress and you know what I felt? I felt like he was so overwhelmed by the thing that he's built that he doesn't know how to get out of it.
Yeah, I think he would like to get out of social media if he could.
Okay. Look, I'll help you there. I cannot promise that you'd be able to maintain your market share. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to sell my stocks on the high. All right.
Yeah, so I was trying to find my. Where did I put my articles now? Find stuff. It was under reboot, I think. Did you? Yeah, did you manage to write anything or?
I did not. I was going to. I still needed to pull out the transcripts, and so I didn't manage to actually write anything. I did the videos. That's me writing something.
Okay.
But I did come up with very clear, well, thoughts around AI and EI and the sense, like, in my strongest proposition, right, which is I think which you brought back, which is this idea of, I called it decommercializing the internet. Because I think the biggest challenge that I have, and I captured it this week, is I start to try to do something and I get lost in apps, like the way that they're designed. What is it, to sell me shit, not to allow me to complete my task. At least with the commercial ones. And then yeah. And then the big idea of kind of what we're doing here. And I go back to the main problem that we've always been trying to solve, which is integrity. And that's something you and I've done together in our friendship and our partnership. So mine were a more high level digging in, but I thought it was important for me to take a little step back of, yeah, and like CPU for me is the platform to connect our personal repository. And then I had a little joke with myself. It's like my private node in the Oasis. Do you remember Ready Player One? Kind of like that.
I saw your video. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, I want to have a voice in this world. I think is one of the most important things. And the most interesting thing I think about you and I is like when we share the same ideas, or even more interesting when we don't. And that discourse is important.
So I actually wrote an article about this with Chad. I call it Different by Design. It's all about, like, you and I are such an unlikely duo. And yeah, so I was kind of wrote a little Substack article on that. The 3 hops problem. And so the kind of thing I was getting that from the conversations and the transcripts.
I used to have that, especially with a neurodiverse brain, of how you process information. Like I'm constantly searching for the connections and the patterns. The problem was when I would go too far down one like 3 hops. If I keep going further than that, one, I'm going to lose most people. Like most people can't jump, and 2, you skip off the universe. You don't really land. You just keep skipping, which can be intoxicating. But so how'd the article come out?
It was okay. I was kind of sort of. It's a bit too long. I went through a few. I'll share my screen again. Systems thinker and intuitive leaper walk into a podcast. The contrast isn't the bug, it's the engine.
On paper, we make an unlikely duo. One of us is a system thinker who can't stop building things. The other is a neurodivergent creative who volunteers on the street and finds meaning in unlikely places. I'm a street shaman. We met as a product manager in an edtech startup, survived COVID, adapted home office, and somehow ended up making a podcast about the future of human creativity. Nobody's going to see this coming. Not even us. Yeah. I mean, it gets it out there.
Not bad, yeah. So,
Well, the interesting part would be, and this is the thing that I actually discovered with the writing this week. Well, two big things. One, when I read through the tenants that you did, the decent like those things, I remembered not only yeah.
yeah.
What I remember is I don't know how we got here. I don't remember, and that's the thing is like when AI writes it, I don't remember why we chose the things we did. Like when I read back, it made sense, but I still don't remember it.
Well, this is all comes from the first episode that we
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
It's more like a summary for the audience, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, these are the things that align with like that public spaces stuff, right? They manifested
Well,
all these things, so
okay, okay.
that's why it's important.
Yeah, so and the funny is as a document, I like it. As content, does that make sense? It's like at least like what's the audience for this?
Well, it's framing the values, and everything that you do is going to be in the lens of those values. So that's why I think it's important because it's really telling people what your mission is, basically.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's why I put my own mission together based on that. Because I had to make it my own, right? For me to actually feel it. And so mine were a little different.
Hmm.
Mine was, and I here, I don't know if you can see.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'll read it out. Well, here, actually, there you go. I do it the old school way. Goes, my body is my greatest gift. And the reason why we started this is you asked, well, you said something about we should reverse engineer you, me. And then I'm like, I extended that to us. Because I just thought it was a really good idea. But you're right. Like every exploration is inward. And that's the part that I think is so interesting is like, then to get to know who Paul is and who Teresa is. And yes, we have a shared common goal of being open to all possibilities, which is the decentralization. Is like, yeah, humans can do this. We've got all the tools necessary to do this, but we need to slow down. Now, the song that was playing was Child, You Don't Have to Work for Love Anymore. But yeah, but yeah, and then when I expand it to like those parts, then I'm with you. It's like, yeah. Plus, I want to get credit for the work we've done. And you and I are thinkers. So now we have to learn how to be beers and do a little bit. Well, those were my answers. But I can see, I feel like they overlap with what you wrote.
Yeah, so I thought it would be nice if you wrote something about like in some of those episodes you're talking about like why you went to art school and those kind of things, something a bit more personal. Um,
I did answer that one too. But I started with the high first one. All right. Well, the truth is, I went to law school, and I think I've told you this story. The second day, I knew I wanted to get out of there. But I was a immigrant's kid, so I didn't know that you could turn in the loans. You have time.
yeah.
They should tell kids this. They should tell them if you're not sure, you can give, you can say no. But I also went so that I could learn the white game structure and how, well, at least in American law, like how the white man use the rules and then change the rules when they want to. It really is as simple as that. And then the art school is so that's what I call my yang period. Well, I guess that kind of goes into why I went into Silicon Valley and I was interested in structure and design in the sort of information worlds, and that was the place to be. And it was fun. It was exciting. I wouldn't say law school. That was terrible. It's horrible. I would never recommend that to anybody, but to each their own. And then art school, this is my more yin period. where I really get to connect with that part of me, the more creative, the more artistic part. And so the notes I have is Amsterdam plus art school equals New Amsterdam. And yeah, I've got some more esoteric stuff, but I'll leave that for my channel. That's really where I wanted to connect with structure and flow, and I think that's at the edge of where chaos comes into coherence. Um, but in the CPU world, that's where, well, that's where a bunch of small teams get to start playing with things and study to model first in our own behavior, but then in actual products, the opportunities that people can make different choices, right? It's the biggest opportunity is to present people with a different alternative and make it interesting and curious for them. I think that's the thing that I've learned from art school, but also working with you, is that I think the thing that makes us work more than anything. And my mom said we needed a horse. And I think our relationship is that horse. Let me explain. She had this, but this has to do with art school and it has to do with creativity. And my mom saw this YouTube on a horse, and there was a really good horse trainer who had this idea, and he never takes a horse that he can't fix. He never gives a horse away, right? But he got this horse that he just couldn't do it, and he couldn't do it. And he was kind of like you. He's a systems thinker. He has a really good program. He's very good successfully rated at, like that sort of repetitive thing to, it makes sense, to foster a horse, choose the right horse that he can foster, put it through the system and get the horse back on track. With this one, the horse was too emotional. It had, it was highly sensitive. And so he had to work with another trainer who was more, call it intuitive, or embodied and more emotional. And that trainer was able to really connect. So my mom said the story worked because they came together over a horse. Like, and you and I came together over, like, we want something different. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Sure.
I also said, like, I would always say this crazy shit, and then you'd be like, whatever. All right, fine. You told me to say something personal. I did.
Write it down, though. I want you to write an article.
Oh, I don't want. I did write it.
Record it and then
I
well,
did.
I get Claude to
So,
write it. I don't have to write it, you see.
all right, that's the next step. I'm with you. I got to pull the. I'm going to the Apple store tomorrow. I'm going to buy my. Okay, so here's another question that I wanted to ask you. More practical. So you get your Collage instance set up, and what I want to do is I want to be able to record my thoughts like this. This is what the workflow I've always wanted. And then to have, because what happens is, as a dyslexic thinker, it's much easier for me to talk through my ideas and then kind of work. And that's what's happening, is like I'm just starting to get them out of my head because they're only fantasy in my head. The first piece of content I want to make is a video. And what's happening is like only I'm watching the video right now, but it's helping me organize my thoughts because I can hear myself. And then I can start to see how the structure works for myself, because I stop a lot of times because I don't. It takes me a long time to sit down to write something, and to be honest with you, I don't know if I really want to. So what I want is the video transcript to go directly to my repository, and then I can generate an article and I can review it. So I can add it to, or if I do want to write something, then I can take that as a baseline to organize my thoughts, to sit down and write something. So I'm not sure. I haven't made that choice, but I want to be able to make that choice, or in situations where it's just like this, I want to be able to speak something and move on. Then I don't want to write an article. Does that make sense?
Sure. Well, I mean, the written form is just a different medium, right? Substack, I think it's most people's Substack is going to be a mix of written and video. So I just see those, as different mediums for communication.
Correct. And in a world where I see kids, well, I guess that's what I'm challenging is like kids are gonna, for me, it's about voice expression and connection. Now, I don't always enjoy writing, but sometimes I do. Um, yeah, but I do enjoy talking into the camera.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you can get those, because we can also create articles. We've already discussed these things, right? We have those last two podcast episode where you spoke about it in length, also with your mom, why you how you ended up at law school. So we already have those transcripts. I could create a
Oh, if you want to create the article, I'm not going to stop you.
yeah.
Hey, but here's an interesting
It's
part.
just
We
that
could do.
the videos are rambling, right? They're not things that people are really going to watch, in my opinion. Yeah, so I would
No,
say that's more for you to make those. Um,
exactly. Well,
yeah.
they're not going to watch them yet.
Well, my first goal was just to create a set of content to get started, right? On that, to start up, bootstrap the Cyberpunk Utopia Substack. So if someone goes there, they can read.
Okay, okay, I see what you need a piece of. Okay, more
Yeah.
clearly,
So
you
it's
need a
like,
piece of
so here
content
are
from
these
me.
guys, then you got interesting headings, and it's relatively short, and yeah,
Okay,
kind of building.
okay, so let's step back. You need a short piece of content why I went to art school or after.
It's just complementing, like, aspects of yourself or whatever. Um,
Got you. I got you.
it's all about along those themes, right? So we go back to the human agency, automate the bullshit, reclaim your life, meaning economy. So this is the theme of our school is more about things like meaning economy, transitioning away from a labor-based economy to why go back to art school. But those kind of things would be interesting because then there's a story there.
Why go back to art school right now?
There you go. Well, you see,
But
that could be an interesting article. That's the heading, and then it's like, oh, let me read that.
but spoiler alert, I only went so I could drop out and start up a tech company. Well, no, we're not starting up a tech company. It's a tech pod. All right.
Check.
Okay. No. Okay. Okay. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, we're coming at it from two different perspectives. I get to ramble all I want on Dyslexic Library because that's the point. It's more of an art piece, and that's what I'm saying. Okay. But you for Cyberpunk Utopia need a very clear piece of content. I'm gonna have to sit down and write it. That might take me a minute, but
Well, look. This is the thing. I'm not gonna. I don't have the time to sit down and write everything. So I am gonna just use Claude.
yeah.
I've got a writing style so that the content is good. It doesn't have to be like fully authentic, like I wrote by hand, because I just don't have the time or the inclination to do that. So that's a conscious choice.
Yeah,
It
I know.
is well written because Claude wrote it, but I wouldn't have written it. But it is all based on our content. We've already said all these things, right? We've got like 30 conversations. It's just
No, we've said it over and over again.
transforming it into bite-sized chunks to bootstrap some content.
All right.
And then,
Okay, I'll do it your way for a while. Let's just pump it out and see what happens.
well, the alternative is not doing it. That's how I see it. It's like
No.
it's viable to do that. Writing it yourself is going to be too much work. We're not going to do it. So to me, it's a choice of having.
Well, I'm learning to use AI to get me jump started so that I don't stall.
Yeah.
In a really good idea, and this is a really good idea. And you and I do we well maybe me more than you. I stall. Uh, so okay, I understand your purpose. I understand what you're asking for. I will sit down tonight because that's all it should take me 2 minutes to ask ChatGPT to please write. I probably already have a draft of this somewhere in my.
Yeah, or if you have the bullet points of the narrative arc, right? What are the main points, and then you can use that to create a draft for you.
Do you have the original? Because I know you posted that content to YouTube. Do you have the transcript?
Yes. So I've got. Let me see.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy the notes that I have here. I'm going to take the content from that transcript and then I will ask for the content that you need, and we'll see how close it gets to what I want.
So what should I do? I could send you a zip file with all of the transcripts.
Well, that it's a big file, right? Then
Well, they're not big, they're just text files.
Okay, yeah, just a zip file, and then I can upload it into to Miss Smith, Agent Smith.
So scripts. Okay, I'll send it by email then.
All right. So do you? Well, if that's the case, then to be more clear, do we want to set a calendar of like I can do here? These would be my idea for my articles. Why law school to art school? The structure of yeah, from structure to flow. My idea around AI in EI. Kind of my 4 personal tenets. Then, the CPU platform, the ideas of connecting to a personal repository to a peer-to-peer network, which some of these articles I kind of have on Dyslexic Library, but it would be good to kind of centralize these thoughts. So I think those could be like 3 articles that I could deliver. And then we could just get going from there, right? Which is like I can work on a workflow that delivers articles for CPU. If we just want to start with at least seeding it with kind of the background content, and yeah, and that's not a bad idea because it's going to take time, and we need to be consistent to start generating. Well, 2 things like having the notes, like the little quips or one-offs or these short things that we want to drop week to week, and then the longer pieces, the longer articles, and then eventually sitting down and having like how do we want to do video? Maybe that's a better idea of thinking through how we want to do the note strategy, the article strategy, the podcast. Because then, to your point, it's like I know you don't have a lot of time, but then it's more consistent about how we generate content. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, with the video, just a question of understanding what is it you want to talk about? Is it something that you want to record and then post on the Substack?
But we don't have to do. I guess that's what I'm saying is like if we just concentrate on note and articles right now, we don't actually have to even consider video or a podcast. We can just focus on written stuff. If we want to do or record something to share, like kind of what we did in the beginning of this conversation, and figure out how we want to create that sort of content. I guess what I was suggesting is just to focus on the notes and the articles right now,
Sure.
because that's pretty straightforward, and then what we can do is use these video calls to, which is what we've always done, just talked free and rambled all over the place, and then use that to generate our well, let's just start with the articles and notes. And maybe if there's like, because what I do like about this long format is you and I can ramble on, and then the AI cuts up the little nice segments. And in fact, those nice segments, if you string them together, kind of anyway, so those are just some thoughts to keep us focused, and then,
Sure. Yeah. Okay, and then so you want to get a Mac Mini still?
Well, my question to you was like, I want to work on my workflow between people. Like, so you and I just kind of described a workflow where you and I kind of have what we love to do, which is kind of just download with each other, and then use that content to generate a coherent Substack we'll use AI to filter out our noise so that it's more clear to an audience. And what I want to use is, and I don't know if AI does this, right? Where, well, maybe it's way too ahead of that because you still have to send me the files, like versus me being able to go ask your repository, right? If I had access to your clonch or a branch of your clonch, right, where I can just simply ask, because I know it's on your repository somewhere. It's like, can you please summarize a conversation between Teresa and Paul about art and her mom about art school, right? That would be really cool for
Yeah,
me to do.
yeah.
And I guess that's what I'm really, this is the thing that I want to create between us.
So I mean, a repository is kind of, at least it's just files you got to store somewhere, right? You've
Yeah.
got sort of like notes. Like I use Obsidian for notes. Otherwise, you have different kinds of files. It could be transcripts, they could be audio, or they could be video. So what were you thinking of using the Mac Mini for? You want to have a
Okay, so personally, I want to put all, okay, so this is what I want. I want to dump all my notes. And my friends did this too, and there was some AI software called, it's for researchers. And so what you do is you create your own LLM based on your research notes for that project. Um, and so but they want to, they want to charge $30. So I guess that's what I'm getting at is like the, the more we continue to use the internet, they're going to do it the commercial way, which is they're going to come up with a good idea and then they're going to try to charge everybody for it. Versus me with my Mac, my own repository, create my own workflows, my own LLMs, my own things that I want to do. That's kind of what I want.
okay.
Then I want to hook it up
Fair
with
enough.
you
Yeah.
so that, and that's what I was talking about. So like things that we share together, I can give you access to certain first knowledge, like where you can just generally query Teresa if you wanted to ask something, a question that we've discussed or something, whatever, and or if you needed a specific file that you have access to. It's kind of replacing Google Docs, but now you can access my whole things that I allow you to access.
Yeah, exactly. So there's sort of access to files is potentially having a shared chatbot.
Correct.
So like you could have your own cloud bot running on there. Maybe we could have a shared one where you can have multiple agents, and then there are ways of giving you access. Like I run on my Mac Mini. Open Web UI is basically kind of looks like ChatGPT, but you can create users and you could access this directly. So you would have, and you can access also different models. I've got some local models on here, all sorts of things you can do.
Yeah.
Obviously, like when I talk to my twin bot, then because it's running on my Mac Mini, it's got access to everything on there. So
Yeah.
so
So now go back to that David Lawrence or that guy's the YouTube thing, right? Now he can host that in his repository and he can make it public. It's like kind of redoing the way the internet is infrastructure, but back to private nodes. So now I can share what I want with the internet. Well, it becomes a new way of thinking about the internet in the end.
yeah, a lot of these services, there's all these different protocols. Like you've got Mastodon, which again is kind of like equivalent of like a Twitter, but it's decentralized. So you have different Mastodon servers, and then they're all federated. So you can have a muse on one, and you can visit others, and that sort of thing. So
Yeah,
that's
I
what all
think.
of these have in common.
Yeah, and then you have things like the Internet Archive and Wikipedia. They could do something very similar, but now I can query those things. They can still be hosted by those things, but I can bypass their interfaces.
Yeah. So like Mastodon social network that's not for sale. They're yeah, so they're all decentralized. They also have you have options over the algorithm. You can choose, what appears in your feed. Um, so those are all kind of building blocks. Yeah, so I was thinking I could maybe set up like a shared Google Doc where we can have tabs for different like draft articles, and I could put stuff in there. You could put, if you got one, it's kind of a draft, and
Okay.
we can get them ready and then publish them as we need. So then we just use Google Docs as a shared. I could eventually try to set up maybe a shared Obsidian, so maybe we both get it synchronized from GitHub. So like if I add a file, you'll get the file and vice versa.
I think if we just go
That's like
step,
a
yeah,
peer-to-peer system where you just use GitHub as a synchronization.
exactly. If we set this up for ourselves, then we have we have the CPU, we have the prototype. And then once we get humming, then we have credibility. Yeah. Okay. So two things. Oh no, three action items. I'm gonna go get my Mac Mini. We'll get that set up, but I will more importantly, I'll get you the content and we'll dump it into the Google file. So I think that's the two action items, right, this week. So I'll get you 3 articles this week. Yeah, okay, that's easy. Since what do you say? And now I feel like we're back in 2000 with the in the early Google games, we used to call them the content farms, and we would create websites, and then the idea to trick Google was to just start creating, branches and branches and branches of content, and the theory was the evergreen, they called it. So it was just constantly shifting the content. And there was a guy named Matt Kutz. Do you know that guy? I don't know if he's still relevant or not.
I don't think so.
He was the guy in the 2000s, late 2000s to, I don't know how long he stayed at Google, but he was the guy in charge of the algorithm for Google search. And like, well, that's the thing I always enjoy is like people will, you create something and people game it. You create you have this thing going. That's another thing to decentralize is the gamification of, and if you flatten things, and so then people don't have to spend so much worrying about security and that sort of bullshit. All right.
I shared this Google Doc with you. It's called
Cool.
Cyberpunk Utopia Substack article. So there's like a draft. You could just add like a sub tab, and I can do the same. Just so we can share, because otherwise I've got stuff. Obviously, it's in my Obsidian notes.
Okay. Yeah, then maybe I'll get those to you ASAP, and then if you want, well, I could use your help setting up the Mac Mini and the just to figure out how to go through that process. Yeah. And then maybe we can come up with an outline of the basic based on our workflow of how we want to set that up for the shared. Well, basically the peer shared. So we have our personal repository, then we have our personal one, which is the one you and I share, and then there's the public one, which is the one that we share with everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Careful. On a completely other note, I will also be right, and I will write about this, is the other horse that I thought about, and I actually think is, because I'm still thinking this through, the city of Amsterdam itself. And that was one thought I had, and we don't have to spend much time with it, but I really like it as a background to thinking. So like you and I kind of talked about the project level idea, but I have this strong intuitive sense that the more that we're able to connect with the city itself as a model to how we want to decentralize this, because at the end of the day, it's like I'd rather be connecting with people in the city. And so that's my other project, which is to really start going out in the underground thing and the party that we're starting to throw. And how does that, because to me, that's the biggest piece of this, is moving from law school, which is this reality that is forced on us to a creative reality that supports, in my case, myself and my friends, right? How do we transition? And I don't know, there's something there. I just feel like Daniel was right. That's a really powerful piece. And like the stuff you brought earlier in this conversation about how the Europeans are looking at decentralizing. And to me, that starts with the cities themselves, because they're the ones who are most flexible to take action. Like if we can get bigger government money and start piloting in cities.
Yeah, so that's why it's great to follow the VARG stuff. You should really
Yeah,
check. I don't know if you get the email, but they are the epicenter of all that.
I
They
agree. So that, yeah, I was just kind of circling back to what you already said.
um,
Okay.
it could be good to see like what dig into that a bit about the city trying to use some of their tech budget to support like open source. Um,
I think
uh,
we could even get crafty too, because I go back to that woman that I met that has a really cool project about the Schone Straat, the clean streets, which is a very what do you call it, Giuliani approach to things. And I agree. Like if we clean the streets, then people feel good about the city that we live in. She had some problems that I think we could build a repository of stuff, or like call it last mile problems. How do you get people to self-organize and connect and be consistent? Because I did the cleaning street, but I only do it once every 6 months.
yeah.
So some of it is about attention and getting people to focus their attention back to the people they live with. And so anyway, like I said, it was a side thought just at the end, but I'd rather this couple of weeks just focus on getting our workflow and the tools to help us set up. I get the Paul nod. Okay, I'm not sure, but okay. Any plans for tonight?
No, not really.
No. Is that a drum set behind you?
Yes.
You've never mentioned this.
I'm not very good at it.
When did you get this?
Early years ago. Yeah.
You and your gadgets. I can imagine drums are hard.
Yeah, it's interesting because you really are using like all four of your limbs. And so, yeah, it's quite a thing to do with your brain.
Well, maybe that can be one of our first recorded things, and they are just the silly things. Anyway, okay. I'd love to use your drum set one of the times. I guess that's what I'm saying. And I'm happy to make myself a mule to record it if it gets us more subscribers. Cool. All right. I'm going to go feed Charlie. He's been waiting patiently. Cool. Thank you. And I will get you that consent.
Okay, yeah, no, well, it's just to have something from you to kind of bootstrap the.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm a little daft and I have this process, but now that it's clear to me what you want, I can focus. So, but I'm glad I did because I had to think about it. I had to have my own answers first, and then work with the AI.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I do that, and the AI spits answers at me, and I'm like, well, that's interesting. It'll take me another direction, but
Exactly. Yeah, actually, I listened back to those last two podcast episodes that we did. It's around October last year. I think one was when we did the call with your mom.
yeah.
She was on the call, and the other one we did together. Yeah, I kind of forgotten about those.
I guess that's what I was saying is like, it's okay. We're getting into when we're getting into, but we've laid a lot of the foundation, and I think that's what you're saying. It was we just need to start condensing it and putting it out there on a regular basis. All right, and I'm excited about my personal repository because I
Okay.
really want to do some things with my photographs.
If you like, I can show you what this. So this is like a little it's actually a Claude skill. So you just give it a bunch of raw text, and then it builds like a wiki from it. So it like reverse engineers concepts. So this is all based on our conversations: AI and embodiment, key ideas, tensions. It links everything together.
Oh, you know what? This is helpful. This is getting at, oh, maybe this is all we need to do.
And then it's got the entities, references.
Oh, this is, do you know what this is, right?
Well, it's a wiki, basically a wiki of, but it's organizing all of your raw transcripts into, and then it links everything.
Yeah, this is my wet dream.
YouTube is public infrastructure.
I can just talk about things now, and as they happen, I can be very clear to like how I brought them into the world.
Well, this is what I did. See, then I generated some of the articles from this stuff. I just pointed
Yeah.
at this, and then I'm like, okay, write a draft based on this topic, and then it just pulls the so all the content is just a question of how you want to word it. The content is great. It's grounded on this. So this is based on all of those transcripts I sent you. It's all there. So it's
This is exciting.
oh.
I, my gut says if we just move slowly through getting ourselves set up, like using me as an example on how to set this up and making this the content, like this literally becomes how we start. This is the launch for humans.
Yeah.
Yeah. That way the humans can start to get together, take a task, make some money, get paid. Just like Conch. I mean, it's all there. I just want to get paid for you and I to like go hammer on stuff, connect with people, and then it's like,
You need to go and read. So OpenAI submitted this white paper thing to the government because they're realizing the jobs are going to go soon. So they need some good PR. So they suggested a 4-day work week at a and what do you call it? A sovereign wealth fund.
I couldn't agree more. The experience that I've had on a burnout, the first year is simply letting go of everything that you know. Like it doesn't make any sense. And then once you really step away, it's like you have to transition from a life that has been built on a race to something that you don't know what it looks like, and that's gonna freak a lot of people out. It freaked me out. Like what does this look like? How could I, I've always worked for other people. Now, we have to, like, we have to be motivated enough to be consistent.
Exactly. So Sam Alton was motivated because someone threw a Molotov cocktail at his house, apparently.
Who did?
Someone threw a Molotov cocktail at Sam Altman's house. So it's like,
Well, I think he's also saying things that aren't necessarily true. Like we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what choices people are going to make, and making content that panics people. Now that being said, governments being aware that we need a transition plan and it needs to happen within the next 10 years, that's probably fair.
yeah, no, indeed. I think that's the thing. Well, there was an article in The Guardian today talking about this stuff. And it's like, well, these companies are trying to set the narrative by publishing or setting up working groups and telling the government what to do, but the government should be, have a plan because those are our elected representatives.
I couldn't agree more. And again, I circle back to let's give them a model with Amsterdam. Like the infrastructure's there. They're already thinking about a circular economy, thinking about how to transition groups of workers, and they have a history of socialism that allows, for this in their DNA, where other places are going to really, really, really struggle based on their infrastructure models. And I'm looking specifically at the United States, that watching what happens when a whole industry disappears. Detroit. It sucks. It sucks. It's painful. And that's going to happen. just like the automotive industry. Like, I mean, but it's not the first time we've transitioned workers. So let's stop saying we're out of jobs. It's like we're transitioning people. So let's come up with a transition plan. Governments, you've got 10 years.
I don't think they have 10 years.
Okay, 7. Well, I'll put it this way. The Earth needs us to slow down. She's got 7. I'm with you. Let's make this happen in 7. 7 years is a natural human cycle. I think it will take about 7 years. But you're right. It is escalating.
Yeah, a 20-year-old guy who threw this set the perimeter gate alight.
I'm excited. I'm gonna go get my Mac. I'm a little nervous too, but only because I bought those Meta glasses and that was a big fail. But the truth is I need a second computer regardless. So and I don't feel like
Yeah, I
spending
mean
3,000 euros.
the base M4 one is still a good deal.
I think so.
So
I'd rather spend $2,000 on a sweet ass monitor.
True. Yeah, they're only tiny. It's like that big. Little.
Yeah. It's cute. I'm excited. I'm gonna call it. I don't know yet. But the other part I didn't tell you, and this is from art school. So I dropped out of the orientation program because it's too much, and I wasn't able to focus on the exam. So I want to focus on the exam, and what I'm going to build is a installation with all my diaries. And so I'm calling this the last version of Anne Frank's diaries, the ones that would have told the more queer story. And so I'm going to make an installation with Albert Heijn baskets and make it look, I don't know, like a mobile maybe. I'm going to work with one of the artists here in Amsterdam. He's going to help. Well, he doesn't know it, but he's going to help me. And I want, yeah, so I'm going to stage a bunch of stuff and make it like a bookshelf. And then I'm going to offer the read failed because what I'm going to do is scan all that material. I don't know if I'll have time before the exam, but the intention's gonna scan everything I've done in those notes to put into my Mac Mini. So I'm gonna have all the notes and like the artistic, basically a sculpture of my notebooks, and then in the front it's just gonna be the lonely little Mac Mini. Because the feedback that I got was to go big. So I'm gonna make this big thing out of my notebooks because he said they're compressed. And I said, yes, they're flat. And so I'm going to make the notebooks the focus point and make it really big and loud and then the Mac Mini.
Right.
I was like, I thought the scale of it. And
yeah.
And so I'm going to go Wednesday and I'm going to work with this wonderful artist that I met. This is a fun part. And I like this because it's like the art, you can start to express what things is like, don't take this seriously. You know, that's almost 8 years worth of work that I have in those notebooks. And the best part, I'm going to offer this to the read failed. I'm going to offer a donation. They can buy this material. No, I'm going to donate it. They can have it in perpetuity. It's a pretty good deal.
You can have it on like indefinite loan.
Well, yeah. But what I was thinking is like, because if we move to more decentralized, right, we have to think about how information works. And I like some of the old models that exist. And Stanford did this really successfully. They invested, as they were creating this sort of feeder system for Silicon Valley, they would invest in Silicon Valley. And the same way that I want, like the new model is like artists are the new they say artists are the new athletes, or the creatives are the new athletes. Then as we creation at all levels, like how do we give credit for people's ideas, right? Because even when they aren't able to execute on it in a way that we think is valuable, meaning commercial, like it's not enough to get or doesn't have enough audience, but the idea itself has a direct impact and influence on people around it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think research is like publishing their work, right? So even a lot of the stuff that people do at private companies, they still publish it, and I think that is part of it's kind of part of the deal. Researchers do want to publish their work; they don't want it to be kept
right,
proprietary.
right. In some ways, I am. My research is very esoteric. Right, it's in a very field that most people can't access. So I think that's also the problem that we have so many university systems that have gotten so narrow on research. That's why I like the peer-to-peer stuff anyway, which is interesting because this is what Turnitin was trying to solve to begin with. And to your point, there's a wonderful company called, can't remember, in Amsterdam that's working with companies to share their research to see where things overlap.
Hmm.
I can't remember, Findly or something like that. I can't.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, cool. Anyway, all right. Now I really got to beat Charlie. All right, my friends.
All right.
I will get those articles to you by Monday.
Doesn't have to be Monday. Monday's tomorrow.
Well, I'm gonna get my Mac Mini tomorrow, but I think I could get the first one done now that I have the things. Like you said, I'm just gonna use AI and
Sure. Yeah.
pop it out. All right.
All right.
See you in the box.
Ciao.
Ciao.